What is financial capability? It's more than learning information about financial products and services.
When we first heard we were teaching finance in primary school, I initially thought, how are you going to do such complex issues? Because I automatically thought things like mortgages, interest and quite complex issues with money. How are you going to link that into primary school?
So we're talking about financial understanding. So getting students to have a real insight into what money is, the whole concept around money.
But actually after the session, I realised that even in foundation stage and reception age, they may know the 50p coin, but what does 50p really actually mean to them? How much is it worth? What can it buy?
Is it just the physical picking up money and using it and paying for things, or is it deeper than that? The whole idea of money and what it is needs to be unpicked, and getting children to have a deeper insight into what we mean when we talk about money. Are we talking about where money comes from, how we utilise it? So encouraging children on how to manage money and using those skills and in exploring them from a mathematical perspective is really important. So we're not just talking about addition and subtraction, we're talking about real life examples of creating project-based opportunities. Thinking about where we can place financial capability within the curriculum. So obviously mathematics is a key starting point.
So all the way through the primary range, there's times when we can use their mathematical understanding to deepen their understanding of money, but there's also times where we can actually use the context of money and personal finance to actually deepen their understanding of some of the mathematical areas.
So you've got some money cards on your table. So what I'd like you to do now is first of all, explore what's written on those cards, and secondly, decide on some groupings.
We looked at a lot of resources we could use. I think the most shocking one was when we were looking at cards that you separate into different categories, because even now as an adult, I don't always think about things being in the categories that we discussed and put them into.
And whilst you are doing that, I want you to jot down some key ideas on how you could use that activity with children and what you would gain out of it as a teacher.
We were talking on our table about role play and how in Key Stage 1 and Foundation it would be a great place to use this concept. And I think within that it needs to be sort of realistic, so there's no point saying, oh, a car cost £1. If you have the real value, then that gives them a deeper understanding of what it would be.
You're addressing that from a young age.
I think for the postgraduate trainees, looking at the framework just gave them some starting points, some age-appropriate starting points for what they might have a go at doing in school, and also it generated some really strong discussion and debate.
I need to make sure I pay my car insurance every month because my car is an essential tool to get me to and from destination.
During the session we were giving planning sheets with the frameworks of what the children should be covering, and I was really surprised at how 5 to 7-year-olds should know the difference between wanting and needing, and I thought this was a really sort of complex concept for a child to realise at such a young age.
Do I really want that handbag?
And some of the resources we looked at today were things like data handling, statistics, things that you wouldn't necessarily associate with money. I think you automatically assume that it would be basic math skills, but in actual fact it can be applied to a wide variety.
To explore, firstly, what the data there is showing them.
So I think that teachers are unaware at the moment of how often they can use finance within maths.
Having pfeg involved in the process of working on personal finance with the trainees, it's helped us in lots of ways. It's given us access to the really high quality resources. It's given them direct sources of support. And for myself as a tutor, it's also given me the confidence to make deeper links with it in terms of citizenship and the wider children's development.
When we were sorting them out, we found out that most of them were really interlinked. Like poverty goes with charity and it also could go with fair trade as well.
Now that I've taught a project that incorporates personal finance, I can see much more clearly. It can be weaved in quite naturally, and there are all those resources that are on the website which can just spark a project or can be used directly. The group I'm working with, they're quite confident mathematicians, and so the challenge for me was stretching them adequately. I think a lot of them felt that they already knew it all, And so to find out that actually they didn't, they had to work quite hard, I think made them realise that it's not just about getting the answers right, you've got to know what to do with those and how to apply them meaningfully.